My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and boy, have we had a few nights.
Oh, it's been fantastic. There's been immunity pins won.
Immunity pins taken away.
Surprise elimination.
Mystery boxes. Boxes. Plural.
And, some blood sport with a surprise elimination. I love that.
There's been some Curtis Stone Coles advertising.
Oh, yes. There's been a bit of a stonework. Bit of masonry.
We've got to watch all of the 24 Cook twice, and then in some cases they probably wish we hadn't got to see some of the 24 Cook because they probably wished they could have hidden a few things, like maybe that they've never really cooked a steak before.
Or Marin.
But
to be quite honest, how many years ago? Oh, yeah, I'm just going to bung a Marin on for dinner tonight. But
it wouldn't be my first choice. Even if it appeared in the mystery box, it wouldn't be my first choice to go, you know what, I've never done this, and I'm up for elimination, so let's cook Marin.
I've cooked yabbies, but they're different.
Yeah, well, we've talked about the yabby. And I actually found out,
I'd eat Marin. We didn't eat Marin when I was in Western Australia.
So we didn't.
We have to go back to
We had a lot of other things. We do have to anyway. But that's
Robert, we'll see you again soon.
That's for Miss Maud's. But no, I mean, we talked about yabbies like last year when Marin appeared. We talked about yabbying, and I talked about illegally going yabbying. I found out, by the way, it wasn't illegal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently not illegal. It was perfectly legal.
Oh, let's go do some perfectly legal yabbying. Then.
Yeah, let's go do that. Some perfectly legal taking of yabbies. Anyway, so we've had a couple of days. Now, I've just to clarify again, a few people have said, what are we doing in terms of the podcast? Why are we doing it in the order we're doing it in? Look, we were honest with you and up front.
Yep.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is on a Monday night, and we just don't have the time to do the podcast on a Monday night after the eliminations. So
podcast, elimination, and Game of Thrones, something has to go. So we've only got a couple of weeks.
Exactly.
And then we move to our regular schedule of we go Monday night, Thursday night.
But at the moment it's going to be Sunday night and Tuesday night?
Yeah, Sunday, Tuesday.
Sunday, Tuesday, yes. I know it seems a bit quick, but
Sunday, Tuesday is what we're looking at. So that'll work quite well. It does mean we've got a lot more to cover on these shows. So
and there'll be a few bonuses. There'll be Eurovision in nature. But...
Yeah, Eurovision is coming up too, so that'll happen. So we're going to fly through sort of the last couple of nights, although we are going to stop a bit on Thursday and linger a little bit longer in the climbs of That's Our Masterchef. But we'll linger in that a little bit longer later. We need to start up. Do you have to let it linger? Well, they had to. Yeah. Far more importantly, what we need to start with is very important. We have to start with the fact that the episode the other night opened with the Vespa.
Yes, great.
I am pedantic about that damn Vespa. I love the Vespa dearly.
It's your favourite
It's my highlight of the show.
On the whole show.
Look, if you wanted to talk about worrying about somebody returning at the end of the series and who was coming back and who wasn't coming back, you tell me there's no red Vespa there, I'm not watching the show.
What if it comes back with a paint job and it's a blue Vespa? Or green because they've changed to Woolworths instead of Coles.
That would have been, yeah.
They call it the Woolspa.
The Woolspa. That would have been a problem. So they got them all to make... When they did the 24, they got them all to make their favourite. They said, favourite dish. Make a favourite dish. Mm-hmm. Now, again, this reminded me...
It's one that you would eat on a desert island.
Yes, it was desert island dishes.
What would you cook?
What would I cook? Well, it'd be a desert island, so that would be a bit of a problem.
Coconuts.
Well, obviously. Well, speaking of coconuts, we did get to see, remember, Sandeep, who nearly lost a hand while cutting coconuts, because the way he was doing it, it was just this random hack, and you could just see, like... He was terrified.
The nurse is in the corner with her kit ready to go.
There's not enough blue tape in this world to put Sandeep's hand back on. Should he cut it off?
It's just a little nick.
Look, but the desert island dishes...
Save the coconut.
Desert island dishes was an interesting concept. I liked it. I thought it was really cool.
I'd make spring rolls.
Yeah, you would.
And stuffed chicken wings, the ones that I can't find anywhere anymore because the restaurant closed down. And no one makes them like
disappointment. It always reminded me, and I pointed this out the other night for fellow Get-Visians. I know a few people like this one. It reminded me of the immortal words of Ed Cavalier when he was being interviewed by Patterson Lakes Primary School. And they said to him, if you can only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? And rather than a particular dish, he just went, breakfast. And look, it's hard to argue. I mean, I'm not as big a fan of breakfast as Ed because my breakfast is normally just a cup of coffee. But, a good breakfast... I'm a fan of a good breakfast. I'm a bandit for a good breakfast.
Oh, look, growing up, I've always been told you've got to have breakfast. That's the most important meal of the day.
Was that by Andrew Gaze in that ad?
Yeah.
Flat and droopy.
Well, unfortunately, Andrew, I have been flat and droopy because I just wake up nauseated. Like, it's just from living with perpetual sinus problems. So if I get to eat breakfast,
My
I'm
name
excited.
is not Perpetual Sinus Problems, by the way. I just want to let you all know.
It is now.
Apparently. Now, when they went into the pantry to go and get all the stuff out, and I was disappointed because Kyle yelled out very loudly about where are the mushrooms, and I wanted someone to send into a scallop.
That was a perfect.
I was like,
perfect opening there.
Oi, mustachio one, bang. I'm not. I don't dislike Kyle, but there's just something.
He's a pescatarian.
That is a problem. Well, it's not a problem, but there's just something. It's half a step from the vegan problem about how do you know if someone's a vegan? Oh, they'll tell you.
Oh no! You know what I saw
He's
today?
telling everyone he's a pescatarian.
I was out shopping today, and this lovely woman with her lovely son were walking along. She had this lovely jumper on that says, "I'm a vegan because I have a heart inside this body."
So does a lettuce. And yet,
An artichoke has a heart.
exactly.
You're ripping into that, aren't you, love?
This is horrible. Now we commented the other night that the judges seemed, with everything they tasted, they seemed to be experiencing joy.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. It hasn't lasted.
No, thank goodness. We're back at normal programming.
We would have been worried for a minute there.
But someone had upped their lithium doses to a goodly amount, and we were able to see some actual joy and excitement on the judges' faces.
We had a few incidents the other night too where they were talking about, for example, they did the one where they did the blind taste testing with the other judges, and I'm like, holy shit, they're listening to us.
Yeah.
And then they mentioned the Eurovision of cooking when they talked about the backgrounds, and we're like,
are they listening to us?
are they bugging the house? So that's been continuing as a theme, although again, what we saw tonight was,
back to normal programming.
Back to normal programming.
Not as terrible, but still.
Now, Larissa the other night had a bit of an issue with her failed when she was trying to do the panna cotta.
Yeah.
And it kind of failed, and I didn't feel bad.
Why?
Because the one thing you really know that people should know how to do, there's a range of things you have to know how to do before you get on there, but given the last few years, if you can't make a panna cotta or a parfait,
Yeah.
like, I don't have sympathy, and it's not because I hate you personally, it's because everybody does.
But she'd probably practice a panna cotta at home, and this one had booze in it, so I don't know if that will
That's
affect.
the problem, is that, well, it does. It affects setting. So
Okay.
alcohol in those things will affect how they set. So
Should have just done jelly shots, Larissa.
just jelly shots, simple. Like, that's easy.
Go the Mary Berry route, just add more booze.
Just booze into everything.
Get the judges drunk.
Booze into everything is the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
Derek made Portuguese egg tarts the other day too.
They looked fantastic, massive,
They were huge, and yes,
like his guns. It's
I'm here for them.
You are. They're fantastic. I think he's got he's proportionizing out to quote RuPaul, because like his guns
gun
are
show.
so big, so he's like looking at his arms and he's holding the Portuguese tart. He's like, that's not big enough. It's got
We're missing out as well. There are a couple of people in there who are, and we've got a bit of a bet going among the Twitter community right now on who is going to give us the first For Nathan moment. Now, Steph we love you, Steph.
Oh,
if you
Steph's
happen to
awesome.
listen to this, we absolutely love you. But also the other day, you had a chance to write a letter to your son, which is strands of pasta. Didn't do it. Was bitterly disappointed in that.
Yeah,
So
close.
the For Nathan moment is still to happen. It will happen. I am thoroughly convinced. We've heard enough backstory that somebody's giving us a For Nathan moment.
Now, one of the dudes, and I'm sorry, I'm still trying to tease out the Bremonge, because we've got Kyle, there's Tim, those two are standing out. But there's also, I'm calling him Chad Kroger. He's slightly Chad Kroger-esque, not so much. I can't remember if he's the one that's escaped the twins or if it's Kyle's escaped the twins. But I'm thinking maybe whichever one of those has got the twins has got those in, like, with a chance of, like, I don't know, writing
Could
out
do
in
both
Jew, like putting
Spelling it out in Jew.
or a schmear
I think
for the twins.
No, a schmear
And I know.
with then a Jew over the top of it, like paper.
I know. He does 2 dough molds, little raspberries on top, and writes for the twins. It's both an homage to his children and his wife.
Boobs. You're a genius. Look,
I am.
Your genius will not be recognised in this lifetime.
Look, I am still hoping for that that fetal reveal from a chocolate sphere still.
Now, the thing that we can only dream. What a dream that would be. Anyway.
Gender reveal.
So, yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, go back to a couple of episodes ago. We talked about doing a gender reveal rather than a cake, a gender reveal sphere.
Yeah.
Which was an entire recreation of the lower half of a pregnant mother. And when you poured the hot liquid over, the lady garden would reveal itself to be the child. Anyway, it was in Great British Bake Off. Go listen to the podcast, Great British Bake Off. It was really good.
Anyway, stop referencing us. Let's get on to
something more important.
Masterchef.
Dee was amazing.
Oh, Dee, love
75 minutes. She made a full-on fucking banquet's worth of food.
Down for that, Dee.
Now,
everyone's for the D.
Down for that D. We have a name. We have a name for the episode.
Yeah.
So, and look, D was on fire in that episode. So we had 3 people made it through to the challenge.
Yep. No, 4. It was 4, wasn't it?
No, 3 made it through to the Curtis Stone. 4 made it through. Yeah, 4 made it through to the Curtis Stone challenge.
D.
So we had D made it through to the Curtis Stone challenge. We had Tom.
Yes. Mandy. Oh, she's a fucking legend. I like her.
And Joe was the 4th one.
Yes.
I felt for poor Joe.
Joe's awesome. He's like, he studies. He's got a lot of your cookbooks, like the same. Not like you've written one, but like the same cookbooks as you.
Maybe I have.
Very studied in it.
Maybe I have. But Joe, look, I thought the 4 of them were the right choices, probably off the back of that first cook. The last thing we have to say before we get to what happened with the immunity challenge, it was guaranteed immunity, which I have a problem with, but we'll come back to that in a minute.
I don't.
But the problem that I had was, at the end of the episode, was that George is now trying to make boom, boom, insert things here.
No, it's boom, boom. He doesn't say boom,
That's
boom.
right, it would rhyme.
It would rhyme and make sense, but he says
boom, boom, leave the room. But he said boom, boom, leave the room. But
now, you either have to adjust it, George, so it's boom, boom, leave the room, or boom, boom, leave the room, which would make much more sense.
So clearly it's boom, boom, leave the room.
He's suddenly Jamaican.
He's suddenly Kiwi.
Oh, boom, boom, leave the room. Yes, that would work.
It would, bro. Choice.
It sounds like something that you'd hear on, what's it called? What
Police
We Do in the
10-7?
Shadows.
No, I think he released 10-7, but anyway. It would be something like when they're trying to get him out of the cell.
Yes.
Boom, boom, leave the room. So, George, please try to stop make that a thing. But up to this point...
It's already his thing. It's been 11 years, Chris.
But up to this point...
Yeah.
That was the only complaint we'd had.
Yep.
And we're going, oh my God, they've kept the episode short. Thank you, Bachelor in Paradise, for that.
Yeah.
We didn't get a 3-hour marathon like we got last year, which killed everybody. Mm-hmm. We'd had nice judges.
Yeah.
We'd had fair challenges. Mm-hmm. We'd had a blind judging.
Which I thought was fantastic.
It was great.
So good.
We had some really good, innovative ways they did the early challenges. I'm like, great. Then they announced that it's a follow-along with Curtis Stone, and fuck yes, love the follow-ons.
Love that idea, yep.
I absolutely love the follow-ons.
And what I loved about it is that when you got Curtis in, he's teaching you real-life, like, practical skills. Like, whenever I get a big slab of meat like that, I want to know how to divide it up properly.
As you should. Yeah. So in comes Coles' ambassador himself in probably one of the only windows where he was free to shoot a Coles commercial and MasterChef.
Do you know how tall he is?
About 15'3".
I know. I went to the Madame Tussauds and they had his thing there, and like I felt like I was like with a giant.
Down. He's looking down.
Yeah, it felt a little like that. He's like up there. I think he could be like another character on Game of Thrones, like the Mountain. Like he wouldn't be as tall as the Mountain, but
just
he could.
The Hilltop.
The Hilltop. The Hilltop Curtis.
The Stone Lookout. Yeah. There you go. He's the Stone Lookout in Game of Thrones. Now, I have a couple of things though that came out of this episode before we get to the immunity thing. Tim. Look, Tim, you're clearly a great guy.
Yep.
And you clearly have a passion for food and a passion for cooking, and you're clearly good at it.
And gardening. Bit jealous of that.
can we please cut back on the depth of colloquialisms? Because stone the flaming crows.
I know, fair shake of the sauce bottle.
I want to climb the ladder of opportunity and just cut this off, all right?
Cut it out.
Because, dude, like, seriously, I mean, some of them are a ripper, and there's a few that are quite bonzer, but beyond that, it's like a bit overboard. And, like, I don't know. Look, we get it. You're a good guy. You don't need to
an Aussie bloke.
To the core. You don't need to reinforce it with every sentence that you say. And then the judges don't need to reinforce the reinforcement by firing them back. Because it's getting stupid.
Okay, I have a theory.
Go for it.
Okay, much like we thought Terry Irwin was undercover in Bake Off Canada, right?
Yep.
Do you think this is Prince Harry doing an Adele, you know, with like the prosthetic nose? He's got prosthetic bits of his cheeks and face, and he's like going all out to be overly Australian to throw people off the scent that he's actually Prince Harry.
So your theory is that Tim is actually Prince Harry pretending to look like Prince Harry?
Yeah, but slightly different. Like he's got enough. It's like when you've seen that video when Adele pretends to be an Adele impersonator and she's just adjusted her nose. I'm thinking it's like your jokes. He looks like Prince Harry.
So Charles and Camilla's appearance last year was simply a reconnaissance mission.
Yeah. They were just going in to grease the wheels to get Harry on.
You know, Harry cooks quite well. Let him on.
I don't know how we fit it in. Like it would have been just after the wedding, so
interesting
choice because they got married around our time, didn't they?
Maybe they sent. They originally had our date and then they moved.
You made a few phone calls.
They didn't want to clash with us. But maybe, just maybe Tim actually exists. And maybe they sent Tim over to England and he's the stand-in Harry. While real Harry was here for Masterchef.
Like the Prince and the Cooker.
Yes!
The Prince and the Cook.
The Prince and the Cook. What is Channel 10? Get on there. There's a cooking show in that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what do you call this? It's a meat pie, Harry.
So
it's delightful.
So the things that came out of this,
some of that.
The things that came out of the challenge. The first thing that came out of the challenge is, I don't know if Joe actually knows how to listen to instructions.
Meh.
Because every single thing that was said by Curtis, Joe got wrong. It began with the measuring, and Curtis said to do one of something, and his response was that two, Curtis? No, it was one. It was really one. However, speaking of people that can't listen,
but it worked for him. He chopped off half the fucking slab of meat there.
I was about to say, we're about to get to this. So, the butchering, and I use the word butchering both accurately in terms of like cutting up your meat and also butchering in the context of what the fuck did you just do to that piece of meat, Tim? So what Tim did was, first of all,
he went to Whitechapel, found himself a likely target.
And after he did that, he got to work and he was told to leave the fat on.
Nah, take that shit off, eh?
Tim cuts all the fat off the piece of meat.
Just got to trim a bit off.
They then... So they had to leave the fat on. He took all the fat off the meat. That was the first thing he had to do. You then, as part of your béarnaise, you had to make a béarnaise in a pan. At this point...
No, they're making a béarnaise and the pickling
stuff.
Yep.
And he clearly just grabs sugar and throws sugar into the béarnaise.
Sweet béarnaise sauce.
And at no point adjusted it, and nobody told him. And so they did the whole challenge.
You know what Tim needed? Tim needed Tim on the gantry.
He did, because my God, what
narration skills.
What narration.
I'm waiting for him to bring a little turn the page.
I think I tweeted out the other night that the only thing that I don't like about the new series is the addition of the full-time narrator. And then I was like, never mind. And again, we like you, Tim, but there's a lot of you at this point in time.
Tim/Harry, we know.
And
you know what it is? He's getting an appearance fee. There's going to be a big reveal. Week 6, they're like, explosive revelation.
Now, interestingly enough, we didn't see a lot of Dee and we didn't see a lot of Mandy. You know why?
They were doing
it right.
Yep.
Now,
I loved watching Mandy. Like, Dee was good, but Mandy just... She shone. She was my front runner as far as I was concerned.
See, I thought it was
bechamel.
I thought it was Dee. I thought it was Dee.
Hold on, is it a bechamel? What's the sauce?
No, Bernays.
Bernays. Oh, it's all starting with
I mean,
B.
look, to be honest with you, Tim might have made a bechamel. They would have liked it anyway. So Joe was then worrying about the fact that was he sure his steak was medium rare or not, because that'd be the difference in getting a pin or not. No, Joe.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be your difference.
No.
You were in trouble from the first moment. So I love his optimism, but
I also think that you need to go into that kind of challenge with a bit of psychological prepping of take the pressure off by realising this is for an immunity pin.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. Yes, it's going to be difficult, but go in it as a way to kind of give yourself an opportunity to learn and to raise... and to try. And if it doesn't work, no biggie.
And what they did was at the end there, they did the filtering of the Bernays through the cloth. And you would have thought from the gantry that Chris Angel himself had appeared and was doing some sort of mind freak trick by moving through a bench. Because all you heard from the gantry, because obviously the gantry didn't have a lot to do, but yell out random. Now, obviously the problem was that Tim, who would normally have been the one yelling off the gantry, was down in the challenge. So he couldn't yell at himself off the gantry. So the others had to pick up the slack, and they weren't doing a brilliant job of it necessarily. But what did happen was when they first pushed the Bernays through the cloth, you heard the gantry, ooh! I'm like, is that a fucking magic trick? They just push Bernays through a cloth.
Which I think I saw on RuPaul this week because it was the magic show episode. It was great. I think I saw, what's her facey? Silky Ganache. I fucking love her. Putting milk in a cone. So I presume it was also to push out some ganache.
So with the judging.
Sorry, not ganache. I keep calling the Bernays everything
You're
else.
calling the Bernays everything but Bernays. You're on fire. So with
the hollandaise next.
So with the I hope so. So with the judging, look, the only thing to really say about the judging is we were watching it and like everybody on Twitter had the same view. Well, there's sugar in that, so he's done.
Yep.
The others have been really quiet, so they look like they'll probably be pretty good. And they judged first. They judged Tim. And they talked about the meat was really nice and everything else was really nice, but that Bernays was really sweet. And then Curtis Stone looks at them and goes, I almost might sort of excuse that because the steak's really good. And so they're going, they wouldn't. They really wouldn't. Then they gave the feedback on D, and the feedback on D's was, it's good.
But the Bernays is not good.
No, they said the Bernays was okay. They just said there was something a little bit off on the steak that wasn't cooked as well as it could have been. But they didn't really have a solid reason why not. And then we got to Mandy and the same sort of thing. But
her Bernays was better.
Her Bernays was the best one there.
Than Curtis.
But they then didn't really have a reason apart from plating, maybe.
And the steak wasn't as good.
Joe's was not very good across the board, which we knew from start. So we're going, well...
It's got to be between Mandy
and Dee probably here. And they went, Tim. Now, if the steak was the best steak there, and that was actually the thing that won it for him, great. What we need from the judges is a better explanation of what they're looking for.
And all it's looking like, again, is what we saw last year with Ben and Sashi.
Picking people.
Which is picking people, and we've seen it with Matt Sinclair.
Yep.
And it comes down to the white male thing. Like finding the white male that you can push through.
I mean, Sashi was a bit of a different thing there, obviously, but still, they found somebody that they went early on, they went, and just pushed. And then they sort of backed off on Sashi a bit and then pushed him hard again. But Sashi had the skills to back it up.
Yep.
Now, not saying that Tim doesn't, but here's the other thing. I was trying to work out why this annoyed me so much, and because it really annoyed the hell out of me. I put up a poll on Twitter. Should Masterchef AU have an immunity pin at all?
I ticked yes.
Yep. So the final poll ended up being 55% no, 45% yes. Now, there were a couple... I was still trying to work out what the problem was. Now, I finally worked it out after I put the poll up. So, first of all, I have a big problem with the immunity pin because I don't like the idea of making it into... like, taking it away from being about food.
Yeah.
I think the immunity pin is supposed to be, and I'll search it up. I had a bit of a chat with Robert Harwood about this. Mm-hmm. And we said the same thing, which was it's supposed to be there to encourage people to try stuff and be inventive and creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not what it does, though. And it's not being used for that purpose. It's being used for, because they can't pull the pin unless it's that special magic pin one they give.
Yeah.
They have to use it before the challenge. They can't use it after they've tried something. So if they try something and it fails, they're stuck.
But it does allow for creativity, because what we saw, one, you get the mystery box on a Sunday.
Yep.
The first mystery box where it's about going into the immunity challenge, and that gives a chance for people to step outside and go a little wild. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing on the line. You're not going into sudden death. And then you go to the immunity, which then shoves it up another notch, because one, they have to challenge each other.
Yep.
And so that, again, and there's nothing on the line. You're not going to get chucked out of the competition, but you got a chance to do something, like to stay in the competition a bit longer. So it gives them a chance to, again, try it.
The problem is I like the immunity challenges. I don't like the pin.
Why don't you like the pin? But we need something. What would you have instead?
Okay. Well, Robert put out a really good thing on Twitter before where he said you should have to use the pin within 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Like you can't just bank it and hang on to it. And we'll come back to what happened tonight in a minute. But my biggest problem I worked out with this immunity pin challenge wasn't blind.
Absolutely.
And this was the big problem I had with it, was every other immunity pin challenge is blind judged. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, because people tend to stick with the things that they're used to, and like Sashi, for example, last year was in so many of the damn things, a curry would appear every time, and it would be Sashi. And so they could work out who was who because he was making a similar thing every week, right? So that didn't encourage your creativity then. It just encouraged but do it really well so you get a pin. But normally the immunity challenge is blind judged.
Yeah.
The problem I had with this one was they guaranteed a pin up front, did the challenge, watched it, and then didn't blind judge it. They openly went, you.
Yeah.
Which made it feel like they were altering the competition unnaturally. Mm-hmm. Right? And that was, I think, my biggest problem with it. So I'm even okay with the idea. I would like there to be a time frame on it. I don't think you should be able to keep the pin for the whole competition. Yeah,
maybe like 3 weeks. It gives you a 3-week pass.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be like a good, solid thing. And you can't just do, like there's other cooking shows where it might be that you get a pass. You don't, or other shows where like I don't know, Survivor, where you don't go into whatever. But tonight, I'm just going to skip forward.
But we're getting there now anyway.
Yeah. Tonight, so Tim comes in, the black box comes out.
Yep.
Now, okay, fair enough. He can use his pin for immunity, so he doesn't have to go into the challenge. But he also gave up the chance to go into the immunity challenge again. So he really didn't back himself there.
And I would have thought though, when you were cooking the way he was cooking, you were cooking in a field of 23 other people at this point in time. There was one person's already out of it.
Yep.
So you were cooking with, it was a 1 in 23 chance of going home instantly.
And he's already been up there consistently this week.
And it's 4 in 23 that you'll get into the bottom. And if you have been cooking really well, and he got called up as one of the 5.
Yeah.
Like I was intrigued by the fact that he used it because he was doing so well so early.
Yeah.
That I didn't think he would have used it.
But then who was it? What's his facey that had the immunity pin?
It was, last year Loki who went home with it.
Loki, yeah.
Who went home with it.
I guess you don't want to do that, but at this point, it's there's not high stakes there.
I didn't think he would have gone home.
And surely by now he's kind of realised he's a bit of a fave.
So let's get into tonight.
Because he could have tried it, and then if he did get into the bottom 3, he could have used his immunity pin for tomorrow night.
Yeah, anyway. Tomorrow night he could have got out of it. He didn't, again, unless he was doing the absolute worst dish, he could have then bailed tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting that he didn't do that. But let's get into tonight, because tonight started really well. Mm-hmm. Right. They went in with this idea of, first of all, the mystery box.
Yeah.
So the mystery box had
staple
fish
for a Sunday.
It had fish sauce, lemon, tarragon, mango, chicken, Brussels sprouts.
Not just any fish sauce.
So
special fish sauce.
Special fish sauce, where
special factory.
And we had people who had been to the factory. Who had seen the factory.
Oh, yeah.
They had gone there.
Had photos.
Photos in the factory. Or they'd probably pissed. No. That was my joke. That wasn't them.
No.
That was me saying, I would have done
Hi,
that
Steph.
whole thing when, hi, Steph. That would have been me going, I was in that factory. I saw that factory. I pissed in the vat. No. Spat in the vat. No. So they did the mystery box. Now...
Saw my enemy's untimely demise into the vat.
Into the vat. Saw them sink in like T2.
Whoa.
Like T2 in the Terminator, just sort of going down into the vat. Now
Fish sauce has a special depth of flavour you won't get anywhere else.
Now, we got introduced to a couple of new people tonight.
Where's George? Why he's sleeping with the fishes?
So we got introduced to Abby.
I love Abby.
Abby had a backstory and a half. Now, unfortunately, the audio kind of got a bit jumpy around the time when she was talking about her backstory.
And you thought she lived in a cup for a while.
Yeah, they talked about her. Her mother was a bit down on her luck at one point, and they actually lived in a car. It sounded like she said we lived in a cup.
You know, Abby, good on you, but I have to say, fuck this. We're in Australia. We have one of the highest, standards of living, and yet we still cannot make a place where everyone has a home. It just shits me.
Was it a fancy car?
I don't know. Sorry, it just really gets
Get your goat.
Gets my goat.
Hey, Tim, what else? What else does it do? Yeah. Starting the flaming crows.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Like low affordability housing is something that nobody actually deals with.
And the thing is, okay, I'm just going to go on a bit of a rant here.
Go for it, by all means.
Okay, Masterchef always reminds me of how fucking privileged we are. If you live in our country and you can watch Masterchef and you have the ability to pop down to your local Coles and grab the ingredients and cook them when you come home, you are doing really bloody well in life, Like, we've got advantages of having accessibility to food and shelter and all this kind of stuff. And if we cannot make that a basic standard of living for everyone in Australia, we're not doing well. We need to do better.
Must do better.
Yes.
Written and authorised by K. Stanford. So, moving on. We had the first thing where they did the first mystery box. Now, we're only going to taste the top 5. Now, I think we have slightly differing opinions on this.
Why?
Because you believe they should only taste the top 5.
Yes.
I don't. I think they should taste all of them. For the first 2 weeks only. After the first 2 weeks, then they can start picking.
Fair enough.
But I think they need to get... The reason why I say that is I actually want the judges to have a better understanding of the actual capabilities of the top 24. And in the first couple of weeks, I want them to be tasting their food consistently.
That's
so
a
they
fair
can
point.
build up... after a couple of weeks, then the top 5.
Yep.
But... because then it is about presentation, which is a large part of it. Although tonight, their favourite dish that they saw tonight looked like shit on a plate. But apparently, flavour. So we'll come back to Pescatarian McGee later. So the game card. We need to talk about the game card.
Yeah.
Why did everyone go to next week's game card?
Why?
Like, I've done next week's game card already, and we had crumb. We had a panna cotta. We had what else? We have ice cream. We had several ice creams, like a twirl. All the stuff that's on next week's game card, they did this week.
I think you're just not quite in the vibe yet, my love.
I haven't worked it out.
Yeah, you need to just kind of sit down, meditate.
Wait till tomorrow night when they hit them all on the tomorrow night. So
actually, tomorrow night is a Bomb Alaska. So.
It is actually. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they know Darren Purchase.
Yeah.
Damn it!
Maybe Tuesday with the immunity.
Tuesday, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So, actually, Tuesday night will be the one where they won't know the person, because unless they burn one of their big names early, it's usually a chef that no one's heard of, but everyone pretends to.
Yeah.
So, Derek made money bags.
Yum.
Like, I like...
Down for that,
Can
Derek.
I just say, this group is going more retro than any other group they've ever had.
I'm down for that.
We had a bunch of 70s style food. We had the tamarind chicken, which was just... It looked 70s.
I always get
Tessaketti.
Tessaketti. I've got to practice it. Tessaketti served it up, and it looked fucking delicious. It looked like, it needed to be, on a fucking gingham table with some stonework, like jug.
It really did. Earthenware all over the place.
Earthenware all over the place.
Joe tried to make mayo which Matt Preston, I've never seen him move faster to discourage somebody. Like, it wasn't even a case of have another go at it. He tasted it, screwed his face up, looked at him, should I do that again? And Matt looked at him and shook his head, no.
Away
and he
from
just
the
got rid of it. So we need to have a bit of a chat about Steph and her fried chicken, which, dear God, Steph, if you'd like to have if you'd like to have that delivered to us, look, I'll give you an address. You can send that to us.
Now, someone did have a very popular tweet the other day where there needs to be Uber Masterchef.
Uber Masterchef would be a thing. We talked about that. We talked about that last year, actually. Remember, we talked about the Vespa.
Yes, and what's the face he having? Oh yeah, the Vespa doing the deliveries.
Yes,
and then Wonka Vision by Elena.
Yeah, Wonka Vision by Elena was the other one that we came up. Was she came up with?
Yeah.
Apart from the fried chicken, she went with the fish sauce caramel, which Matt Preston ran over to the bench and went, "I hear you're doing fish sauce caramel."
I like fish sauce caramel.
That is my favourite thing in the world. I love fish sauce caramel. And you could tell, because just to give you a quick rundown of the dishes they picked out of the 23, 24 at this point that were being cooked. See if you can find a pattern. Fried chicken and fish sauce caramel. Pan-fried spatchcock with crispy skin chicken. Mango sorbet with fish sauce caramel. Spatchcock with Brussels. Like, there were themes. The tamarind chicken with 70s plating was the only one that didn't feature either of those elements. Mm-hmm. They seemed to know what they wanted tonight, and they were just zoning in on those.
The fish sauce caramel.
Fish sauce caramel was a big winner. Spatchcock was a big winner.
Yeah, but like spatchcock is chicken.
It is.
Isn't it just a younger chicken?
Yeah, they just cut the Maryland
It's like
off.
a virgin chicken that has only
Drizzled in juice.
Yeah, only reached year 8. I'm not sure.
Year 4 reading age, though. Drizzled in Jews. No, I don't mean Jews. Shout out to Grant Spatchcock. Look at me making get this links. Anyway.
We never do that.
Now, early in the episode, I worried about Huda because Matt Preston came over to talk to her, and he didn't ask her anything tricky.
No.
But she did seem thoroughly confused by what he was asking.
Yeah.
And then completely changed her dish.
Yeah.
And went with pies. So she was going to do the ice cream, and she was going to do it, and then the next thing you know, pies.
And I just feel for her because it seemed to be a confidence thing. I think they were trying to hint to her that she needed an extra element.
They did. That's all they were saying to her.
That's not what she heard.
No. She seemed baffled by what he was saying. She didn't seem to understand him in terms of what he was actually trying to hint at. And everyone else sort of gets the subtleties.
But it's an inference thing.
Yes.
And the thing is, she's speaking English as a second language. And so inference is not a fair call in that sense. So I think in some circumstances you need to be a little bit more direct. Yeah. If you're going to go out and give support and advice, maybe we can make an exception in this case.
Now, I think we can. We have to ask a big question before the judging quite quickly. Abby won, and they said that it was an absolutely brilliant dish.
Like how she's like, oh no, that's the next one. Sorry,
yeah.
I'm very happy for Abby.
But I've only got one thing to say about this whole challenge.
Yeah,
you spotted it. Mm. What in the blue bandage hell?
Poor Joe.
Did Joe do to his wrist?
Just accidental stabbing.
What
burning?
Was it light mischief or
heavy mischief?
What was he doing? I want to know, how does he do that?
Because it was in a very strange spot. It wasn't I'm glad it wasn't in any vital organ spot.
Was he going back to try to redo that bloody challenge again that he did the other night for Curtis Stone, and he just put his hand on the grill this time? It's so anyway, I'm trying to work out I smell burning. Why is my wrist warm? I'll put the two together shortly. Give me it. Oh my God, could someone bandage me?
I hibachied myself.
Again.
Yes, it's happening again. All I can think now is in Australia there's going to be a lot of people buying hibachi grills, which you can do online for very cheap.
Far more importantly, people, I'm going to just step out on a limb here. Don't buy them. Don't buy them.
Why?
Right? What I want you to do is I want you to go to Tariba, the crane app game. Because if you go to Tariba, there's all the stuffed toys you can win. There's the figurines you can win. There's a hibachi grill in one of those skill testers in Japan. You could win it, folks. Don't buy a hibachi.
No.
Get a claw. Use the claw machine. Pick up the hibachi. Go win yourself a hibachi.
I'm just imagining all these hibachi like fire starters. Like instead of remember the chips in oil ad? Soon there'll be like hibachi warning ads.
Oh my goodness, the hibachi. Then they brought in the black box.
Ooh.
Now, normally the black box is hard to open and it records the last moments of terror. And that was where it wasn't hard to open, but by God didn't record the last moments of terror. As they announced, this was
Aircraft investigation.
Surprise elimination.
Which I loved. I've just gone, blood sport. I was very excited.
I was so here for that.
Yeah.
I was really here for that.
I'm sorry. I just got joy out of someone else's pain and suffering, but
I was really here for the blood sport.
I liked it. It was a good twist. Keeping it fresh, keeping it real, keeping it... I mean, we missed out on the elimination on Thursday, so it just makes sense. And we got that extra cook. We've got to see everyone cook an extra 2 times. So
we had a couple of key moments in this challenge that I thought were interesting.
Yeah.
Sandeep, he worries the hell out of me.
He does.
He went through his idea for his first cook, which involved Marin, which was in there.
Yeah.
And Matt asked him, are Marin saltwater or freshwater?
He's gone saltwater.
He had no idea. Matt asked him a couple of other questions. Sandeep had no answer really about what the hell it was. And Matt just said to him, if you don't know what it is and you don't know how to use it, you need to be very careful with what you pick.
And have a plan B.
But Sandeep has just seemed, the second that he moves outside of his traditional comfort zone, he doesn't get a slight wobble. He gets a full speed wobble up.
Yeah.
And I worry for him. He needs to develop fast. There's a couple of them who like the idea should be gradual development.
Yeah.
Like I think Sandeep, it's not a gradual development with Sandeep. He needs to make a fast jump.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't make the fast jump, he's going to be left behind really fast.
Well, hopefully he'll have a lot of opportunities in the house. Like if he's open to learning and stuff.
Yeah.
If he doesn't double down and just go, no, I need to do this myself, I think he's got a great growth opportunity.
Yeah.
But I worry that because he's quite insecure and you can see that coming through.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to do that.
I'm worried he's going to double down and just be like, no, I need to just do what I do because that's the only way.
Now, Derek. Guncho. Derek went with a brulee and a sorbet. So he picked everything off future game cards. Like Derek was just ticking off week 3 and week 4's game card right now. It seemed to work.
Yeah.
Everyone seemed to really like it. And like when they tasted it, they're like, oh, Derek, this is a bit good.
Yeah, blackberry sorbet.
Oh, well played.
Fine, made by Derek.
The second bit wasn't quite as good, but the first bit was great. Dee, look, I love Dee. We love Dee. We think Dee's amazing.
She wasn't on tonight.
The problem you can sometimes have, we talk about it quite often about the curse.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was, I think she took a lot of confidence out of what happened with Curtis Stone, which is great, but then she got overconfident and they did steak backing up steak and she's like, I've done steak. I know how to do this.
Yeah.
The blackberry sauce was not a good call.
But we've seen people do that. We've seen people like learn and cook with one of the professional chefs that come in and they'll do an element really well, but then they'll add to it. And I don't think she had her head around the accoutrement.
Yeah, the profile, the flavour profile. You know, one of our favourite sentences, the flavour profile.
Yeah, no, she didn't think about the accoutrement.
It wasn't quite there, sweetie.
Blackberry.
It wasn't quite there, sweetie. No, not quite there. But again, it's always a risk when you have that, is that it could sort of fall over a bit. Now, Huda, grilled steak, creamy eggplant, and they started asking her questions about
blackberry vinaigrette.
Yeah, the vinaigrette. The vinaigrette was the one thing that worked really well.
Yeah.
They started asking her questions about cooking the steak. And again, she didn't seem to be really on the page that everyone else was on. And we saw this later on in the way that she treated the steak. Yeah. And I have to say...
It was a mistake.
I have to say it was brutal what she did in terms of she cut it in half She cut all the fat off it and completely dry pan fried it. And, like, it was medium well, which it can't be. And I know there are people at home going, oh, no, I would have eaten it. In these competitions, it's medium rare. Medium rare, realistically, is how you are supposed to serve. And, you know, they know this. This is the thing. They know how they're supposed to serve it. She got confused. She got herself a bit messed up a bit and crossed up and didn't quite know how to get out of it. Yeah. So I felt bad for her.
I'm sorry to see her go. I was really looking forward to seeing her do more, but she just,
What seemed to be the other problem was that the creamy eggplant which she was going for also didn't work. I think they were sort of hoping that if she did the eggplant, she could have saved herself. Yeah. That didn't work either. Yeah. Bit of a problem. We cut back to Derek at this point. Yeah. With my favourite judge's mindfuck of the week. So they walk up to him, they're like, what temperature have you got your brulee in? And they're like, 100. He's like, 160. And they just looked at him, rolled their eyes, and walked away. They said nothing. So he bumped it down to 150. And at the end, Gary's like, really should have been 140.
He was verging on the Paul Hollywood.
He really was. It was very Paul Hollywood. It was very Paul Hollywood glare. Roll your eyes, walk away. That was when he decided to go with the soil to go with it. Yeah, because he wasn't sure about his twirl, so he went with the soil. By the way, apologies, Joe Kendry, for mentioning the word twirl so often. We love you. We didn't mean to do that. We'll never do that again. Twirl. I'm fond of you, and I will never do that again, unlike this one over here. P.S. Buy some Mama Joe's spices, people. They're amazing. Yeah. That's not a paid ad, by the way. We just really like her stuff. Question.
Yes?
Can we keep Kyle and Tim away from each other, please?
Please.
There was a moment tonight where they were just in conversation back and forth from the gantry to the bench.
It's the Bramond.
Oh, my God. I couldn't do it.
So much Bramond.
I couldn't do it. It was just terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, look, they're happy together and, you know, they obviously found a kindred spirit in one another and, you know, the pescatarian and the meat eater.
But this was all building up to the crescendo of the episode. There was only one crescendo of this episode, and Twitter loved it, and Twitter really responded well to this one moment.
We met Blake.
Who the fuck's Blake?
We found Trent.
Like, in all honesty, and this isn't against him, because I don't know him. Who the fuck is Blake?
Like other people, you've had a bit of a hint.
You've seen them all in the background. You haven't really seen much of them. Like, for example, Yosra. Yeah. I knew she was in there.
I was looking forward to seeing her cook.
I couldn't have told you I couldn't have told you what her name was. I knew she was in there. I'd seen her in the background a few times. Nicole even. I'd seen her. I didn't really know who she was, but that's okay, Nicole. Yeah. Who the fuck is Blake? Yeah. And he was featured. And he was completely featured. Right up until the judging where he just disappeared and never came back again. I don't know if he's real. Did I imagine Blake? Is he a Trent brother or a cousin?
He's got the ninja technique.
He's got the hair. He's very, as I said, I thought he was a cross between Ryan Quanton from Home and Away and probably more importantly Jason Harvey, the older brother from the Wonder Years. I couldn't have told you a single thing about him. I didn't know he existed.
Yeah. I do have to say, again, thank you to the editors for keeping Leah to a minimum tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Because I really want to see how she goes and I'm hoping her...
Let her cook something.
Yeah.
Just let her cook some things. I wonder if that was a deliberate thing. I wonder if the producers went, we need to get the cameras away from her for a bit and let her settle down.
Yeah, I reckon so.
And not in a negative way, but more in a, like, she's really overhyped. We need to back this off a bit.
Yeah.
Tessa gave us a really good quote tonight, which was, with what I've seen on cooking shows, I think the Marin's done.
Well done, Tessa.
And then later on when she went for the judging and she's like, I watch videos on YouTube and I think that's how you do it.
Good on you, Tess.
And look, there were a few people talking about, they've really decided they like Tessa. Well, I mean, look, the difference between that and a few other times where they've picked somebody and sort of done it is she's got the ability so far to back it up.
Yep.
Like, if you saw the Marin that she made, that looked incredible.
Delicious.
Like, the moment they put it on the plate, it looked good. And then when they cut it open,
Perfect.
Oh, it looked great.
Maybe I don't need to go to WA. I'll just go to Tessa and get her to cook me some Marin.
Look, that's fine. Look, Tessa, we don't know where you are, but we're coming. And you don't know who we are, but...
I'll give you a cat.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of those.
We do have plenty of them. What I loved was that Derek's was apparently 20 degrees too hot, as we talked about, and it worked perfectly. I love that.
Yeah.
And again, it's the second time, because again, like we mentioned before, Tim with his steak in the Curtis Stone Challenge, he did everything they told him not to do, and then they praised him for his steak being moist.
I know, he got all the bloody fat off it.
You don't trim the fat, we want a moist steak. And then he trimmed all the fat off it, and they went, that steak is the most moist steak we've ever eaten. It's like, you told him not to do that.
It's an immunity-winning steak.
I don't know how.
Obviously, don't listen to Curtis Stone. What does he know?
Apparently nothing, except you can get it at Coles.
Hormone-free.
Blake referred to his as a celebration of the Marin. Celebration of the Marin.
Give us a hand.
Celebration of the Marin. Let's make it grand.
Let's make it great.
And put it on the plate. Come on, celebrate Marin. Then we had the montage of mediocrity.
Which I was so happy to see Jess in.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Jess stand out eventually, but I was just happy to see her safe.
We have said to people...
Big Jess fan.
We have said to people all the way along, the first couple of weeks, you'll want to be in the montage.
Yes.
The montage of mediocrity is the hiding spot.
Yep.
Don't become a big target. Like the problem for people like a Tim, for example, he's now a big target.
Yep.
And we sort of mentioned it before. We didn't talk about it at the start of this point. He used the pin. So his advantage, gone completely.
Gone. G-O-R-N.
Completely gone.
As my mum would spell. She would. She goes, oh, it's gone. G-O-R-N. Gone.
Is this the same mother who, when your nephew fell off a bed on video...
Did you get it on video?
Yeah, her question wasn't, is he okay? It was, did you get that on video?
Hilarious. My family priorities.
To be honest with you, that would have been my reaction too. And I nearly fell off the lounge when I heard that. Anyway, we got to D, and I'm like, yeah, D. And then I saw the plate, and I'm like, no, D.
I was not down for that, D.
You could tell that she was in trouble.
Oh, D.
And then...
The good thing is we get to see her cook again.
The bad news is, at this point in time, the judges re-emerged from their slumber. Yeah. And what we got was basically brutal. Like, D comes up and he looks at it and Gary just goes, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And they went from being fair with their, critiquing and judging to just nasty and cynical.
Yeah.
And, Nicole comes up and they tasted hers and Gary goes, I've learnt something this week. I don't like steak and blackberry sauce.
That'll never happen in my life.
It'll never happen. I should, but I don't. And they just got really vicious. Actually not all of them. Gary.
And can I just... Okay, something that gets my fucking goat a lot is people who say, oh, you're trying to make us fat. Tim comes up, he's cooked this... Not Tim. Derek's come up, he's cooked this beautiful sorbet. Tweel Crumb is there, blah, blah, blah. And George and Gary, who we know from Instagram have been on a health kick, are like, oh, you're trying to fatten us up, are you, Derek? So you're the slim one and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, shut the fuck up. It is food. You're not burning down a fucking orphanage. And quite frankly, there are things that are worse than being fat in this world. One of them, not paying your fucking staff. 2, being a cunt on television. And 3, engaging in fat phobia when you have 2 women of size in that contestant group. Now, if they were making racist remarks, if they were making ableist remarks about someone with a disability, they would be called up and kicked out. But it's just making fun of fat people, and quite frankly, I am not here for that. So shut the fuck up about that.
And it was a bit. Look, it was ridiculous in terms of, the way they call people out on this shit is just, and especially then what I really hated. Was the cynical one. Afterwards, they talked, when they did Huda's farewell card, they talked about the fact that she continues to work on people having a healthy relationship with food.
Which is great.
That's fantastic. But then they undercut that by the judging.
Yep.
And what they call offhand remarks, which aren't offhand remarks.
They're microaggressions.
We know that's things, and again, it came out, at the same time that they were making all of these other really nasty comments. It was in the middle of that.
Yeah.
So, they were in a mood, but that's not an excuse.
Why?
That's bullshit.
They're probably fucking hangry.
Probably. Anyway, you know why? Because they weren't eating any steak with blackberry on it. Anyway, so Derek, Tessa and Kyle all went into the immunity challenge. Now, I haven't mentioned Kyle there, and I haven't mentioned him for good reason. I don't know if I want to give him that much airtime. No. I love the fact that they made Kyle work with the steak for the first, but they didn't actually. He chose to work with the steak and then halfway through abandoned it.
Which I think is great. He's sticking to what he is more passionate about, and that's fine.
Serving what looked like, as I referred to it, it looked like the 3 stages of shit. It was a journey. We had a solid.
I thought it was quite inventive.
We had a solid. We had a liquid. And the top bit kind of looked like a gas. So we had the 3 stages of shit. And he was telling us a story through his plating, and apparently that plating looked delicious.
He was working with black foods. What are you expecting?
Don't serve it so it looks like 3 stages of turd. Simple. Am I that wrong? I don't think I am.
Kyle, you just keep doing you.
You keep doing you, and that involves not serving plates of turd. Anyway, look, you can criticise all you want there because he's in the final group. So,
he's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah.
I'm clearly going, I don't like the plating, but apparently it tasted delicious. I don't doubt that for a second. It just looked like shit. Literally. 3 lots of it. So, Derek, Tessa and Kyle all go into the immunity challenge, of course.
With Abby.
They join Abby. The bottom 4 were Huda, Yosra, Dee and Nicole.
Mm-hmm. We said farewell to Huda.
And that's right.
Yeah.
It was right. Look,
It's
I
a shame
don't
to see
want
it go,
to
but-
lose her, but it was right.
Yeah.
They got the decision right in the end. I still don't like the process under which they got there, but they were right. So Yosra, Dee and Nicole are all tomorrow night. They're all making Bomb Alaska.
Yes.
So Bake Off fans rejoice.
Uh-huh.
Second Bomb Alaska we're going to see in the first week.
I'm worried about Dee, to be honest.
I don't know. I think...
Well, she was pretty solid with Curtis Stone, so who knows?
Look, there's usually somebody who's really good at bloody challenges.
Yeah. Well, they get good at it because they're in black quite a lot, and before you know it, their skills are refining because they're getting those extra cooks in.
Yeah, they're getting lots of practice, and that kind of helps them a lot. So we'll see what happens. Look, that's where we're going next. Obviously, we're going into that, and then we go into the immunity challenge after that. And again, once again, the immunity challenge, we blind judged, so it will be fine.
So I'm wondering who'll be supporting that, if it'll be Billy or Poe or...
I'll be interested to see.
Or Matt or all 3. Be interesting, because if there are 4 people doing it, maybe they'll have a couple of them.
No, well, they'll probably have them in, but then will they get to pick which mentor they have with them? That might be what they do.
Like The Voice, they all come out and they have, like, the chairs.
They've all got plates, and they randomly turn the plates around. I choose you. So that could be interesting, but I'll be interested to see. I reckon they'll do it that way. I reckon they'll pick a mentor. Although there's 4 of them and there's 3 of them, so what? The loser gets...
No, there's 4 immunity. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
The loser gets Gary?
Shannon Bennett.
Shannon Bennett's outside the window. Bang, bang. Can I come in?
Maybe it's done in 3 stages. So there's one where all 4 go against each other, one person's eliminated, then 3, and they get a mentor each, and then...
No, that's too much effort.
Okay.
I just like the Shannon Bennett just sort of parachuting in, like, smashing through the doors, Mrs. Bouvier style, just bashing on the door trying to get in.
Through, yeah.
So anyway, until our next... Can I come too? Until our next chat, which will be on Tuesday night.
Yep.
I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
And we'll catch you all then.
Ciao.